You have Paris, and you made the Truma before the Gmar Malacha. You made Truma. One of the six things that a Kaveya for Mises, as Kaveya that it's also to eat it aray, besser gesucht, is Truma. So now what happens? The Truma was taken Shaloi Nigma Malachtan before the Gmar Malacha. So the Machlokes Blazer and the Chacham. Blazer says it's also to eat aray because Truma was taken. Nonetheless, that it was loining malachta. That doesn't bother the Blazer. You took Truma. The Chacham said that it's mutter because the Truma was taken before Nigr Malachtan. Before Nigr Malachtan, it's not Nikva Lemaisa, not Nikva for Maisa. I mean, you could eat aray. This is a follow-up on the Gemara on Tezvav. This the Gemara on page Shalok and Shloy Tzarech HaShabbos. The Gemara has a question. Machlokes Rabbi Yochanan and Shimon Melokish. If you ready these payers, Shloy Tzarech HaShabbos. Now you didn't prepare for Shabbos, and all of a sudden become Shabbos. So the question is, does it now become automatically payers that are also to eat it aray or not? Another example of this is now on Tazayin, the Gemara is analyzing the machlokes of the Blazer Chacham in the Mishnah. The Blazer says that it's also to eat it aray, even though it's like Nigma Malachta, and the Chacham matir. And then the exception to this machlokes is if you put it into kakol of tainim. Once you put it into kakol of tainim, even though it's dobish loy nigma malachta, everybody's maskim. Even the chacham maskim, that's going to become also tirid out. Why? If you put it into kakol of tainim, it's considered dobish and nigma. It's considered like dobish loy nigma malachta. It's nikva l'maisa. Why is that? So the Mishnah Shayna says. He says the reason is because once you put it in the kakol of tainim, that's the last step. It's a nigma. It's in your das, and it's told in your das. And once you put it into the tainim, that's it. You're not doing anything more with this. No more work. It's no more work. It's nigma. And once it's nigma, so it's also to eat it aray. Can't eat it aray. It's nikva. It's called the kviyas. Once it goes into the kakol of tainim. So I guess the Gemara. Right after the Mishnah, Tazayin Amid Aleph, Ma'anon Kayomim. Ma'anon Kayomim. What's the question, Ma'anon Kayomim? What is Gemara seeking to understand? Ma'anon Kayomim, Zok the Pnei Moshe, B'pluktayu, the Blazer V'chachomim. In this machlokes of Blazer V'chachomim, when the Blazer says it's also, if it's Lo Nigma Malachton, but you took Truma from something which is Lo Nigma Malachta, the fact that you took off the Truma is Kavayit, even though it's Lo Nigma Malachta. And Chacham say, no, it's Mutter. It's Lo Nigma Malachta. The fact that you took Truma is not Kavayit, Lamaisa, only when it's Nigma Malachta. It's Lo Nigma Malachta. It's not also. So now, what happens is you put into Kakol Shatainim. Kakol Shatainim is Kavayit according to the Kulam. If you put into the kakol of tainim, so the Rabbanim are also going to be a maskim that it's also, because the Rabbanim say that it's mutter is loining mulachta, but kakol of tainim they're maskim that it's also. If we're talking about here, zaysim al shemen, he's taking off the olives on the he wants to be taking the zaysim. On the oil, Vanovim and the grapes, Alayayin, Divakol Mutter. Everybody holds then that it's Mutter, because the Dovish Lo Nigma Malachta, he wants the Shemen or he wants the wine. And now you took off something which is not Duma Malacha. The Duma Malacha is the Shemen or the Yayin. So that's Zikr going to be what? That's Lo Nikva Lamaisa, even though you put into Kakol Shatainim. Elaki Anon Kayomim, B'Tumorim. We're talking here that this case of Tainim, when you put it into a basket, when is that? When is that we say kabel l'mais? Even though it was like nigma melachton, but Tumorim, these were dates. And what does it mean like nigma melachton? He also the dosam. The dates he's still going to press them. Begoiges, or he's talking about razor. He also the doshan. He's also going to press it. The difference between Deutschland and Deutschland, one is in a barrel. The Groigus are in a barrel. The other one is not in a barrel. But Akaponim, still missing one step, the step of Disha. So there, in this case, the blessed Oime, and this is the blessed from the Mishnah, Truma Tevelas, it makes it into Tevel. So this is a question that we spoke about Friday. Not on Pshat is it's a Chiyav Ma'aser, it becomes Tevel. That's the Lashon of the Gemara. Truma Tevelas, if you took off Truma from this, so the Truma, even though it's like Nigma Malachton, so the fact that you took off the Truma, it becomes right away also to eat it. All right. Why? It's like Nigma Malachton. It's not finished yet. That is because why? Because the Truma is Tevelas. That's the one of the 6 things that the Mishnah tells us that makes it for Kviyas. Even though it's loy nigma melachton, but the truma could be kaveya even and davish loy nigma melachton. Rabbanan Amrin ain't truma tevelas b'peish loy nigma melachton. Rabbanan say no, truma is not going to be tevelas, even though the Mishnah tells us it's one of the 6 things. It's truma hanimili, something which is nigma melachton. When it's nigma melachton, then the truma is kavaz. If it's not nigma melachton, then it doesn't work. So that is the machlokes. So the Gemara is explaining the Mishnah. The Mishnah is not talking about any type of peiris. If it was shemen, zaysim al shemen, anovim malayayin, then it doesn't work because that's something which completely lenigma. But here we're talking about something that wasn't pressed yet. So there we say, even though it's lenigma, it's not fully pressed. So according to the Blazer, it's going to be osa, and according to the Rabbanan, it's going to be muta. But if you put it into kakol shalteinim is the deciding factor, and that makes it kaviyas, and you're not allowed to eat it after that. Let's see the Pnei Moshe. Manon kayomim bebuktai the blazer chacham. This machlok is the blazer chacham. And peidish lo nigim malachton. The blazer says that if you take trumitzos and the chacham say that it's mutter, and this machlok is, what are we talking about? Im bekakol shalteinim hakalos. If it's talking, I call a basket of tainim, everybody's going to agree that it's going to be Yosef, like the Chachamim. Why not? Why? The Beholei Pligi Chachamim, the Truma Kavas Lemaises, Andovish Lo Nig Melachtom. Why? B'shum the Gemara Malocha Shelakakola, the Gemara Malocha. In other words, if you put Paris into a basket and it's Lo Nig Melachtom, so it doesn't have the status of Lo Nig Melachtom. Why? Because what's left once you put into the basket, no matter what's going on with the parents, what's left to do with them? Just to cover it. You put it in a basket. What are you doing with it after you put it in the basket? You're just covering it up. That's not considered chasar malacha. So even the chacham that say that it's mutter and davish learning melachta, but you put it into the basket, so you see it's totally in his das. It's not totally in the malacha because no, it's not nigma melachta. What's enough gemina if learning melachta prevents it from becoming also to eat it? All right. Then what's enough coming in a basket, not in a basket? The difference is, according to this, the Melech Shloim, what he's explaining, he's saying that it's only because it's telling his das. And his das is apparent by the fact that you put it into a basket. Once you put it into the basket, you don't intend to do any more malacha with these payers. So there, everybody's masking, because what's left is chipi v'alma, just like to cover it. That's all that's left. So Mela, that's considered loining malachta. He's bothered by the fact, if you're telling me that you put it into a basket, it's still loining malachta. What's missing? They said what's missing is the cover. And that's something which is, even though loining malachta, it's telling the das of the person. So I know clearly his das is, he's finished with the payers, so it's nikva, and it's also teetered out. Because it's not in Peikam the Kokola, said Beferish HaMishnah, in the first Perek by Kakola, put it in the basket, Mishichafa, once you cover it up. Yeah, but if it's talking Zaysim al Hashem and Vanovan al Yayin, not and Kakola Kloimer, she told him in Zaysim Koidim Shinasim Mem Shemen. Let's say he took off the Truma from the olives before he made Shemen, and we're talking about Zaysim, which is Oimit for Shemen, about the Zaysim, which is Oimit for olives, then it's Nigma. But if you have olives and you intend to use it to press it out and take out the oil, the Blazer says that it's nick for the meiser by he took tumor from something like nigma melachta. The chachamim v'toirim shibolim. If you took off shibolim, it's still in the stalks. But also that's in goyim. and he's going to make out of it. He's going to put it into the silo. Anovim was the last I say yayin, or he took grapes and he wants to make out of it wine. Zaysim was the last mem shemen. Shoyaychel mehen aray. There it's permitted to eat it aray. Why? Mishim the yesh kan chasor melacha. Here there has a chasor melacha. What zaysim, banovim, biasman. Each one is a chasor melacha. Because the zaysim you want to make oil, and the novim you want to make wine. So what's the machlokes? Everybody's going to be masking. That's no thing by malachta by zaysim banovim, because you still have to make another step. You have to make the oil. You have to make the wine. So where's the machlokes of the chachamim? When are we talking about the machlokes of the Meblez and the Chachamim in our Mishnah, which is not explained? We're talking about dates, and he has intention to use these dates in a press state when he's going to press it. But it's after Goras Ibche, I told him Groiges who also the Dosan, tomorrow was the Dosan. It's the difference of saying the word Dosan or Doshna, which word applies to the dates, and which word applies to the Groiges. But the same idea is pressing it out. So Zok the Gemara, there's the machlokes of Chachamim, only by dates and by groiges and by raisins where you have to press it. So there's a machlokes of Chachamim. It says if you took truma off these dates or off these raisins before you pressed it out, so you're not allowed to eat it because the truma is keveya in such a thing which is really gemar malocha. Just now you want to press it. Chachamim say no. The fact is he's still doing something else with these payers. You're going to press it. So maybe the truma is not considered kaveh. Only in this case, but not in another case where the Gemara says is with tainim, with zaysim and anovim. We're going to make out of it oil. You make out of it anovim. Everybody's masking that it's not considered something which is roy for nikva for ma'isa, and the machlokes is only when you want to press them. Let's see the Amara folder. What kind of case is the machlokes again by something which is lo nigma melachta and you made truma? If you're saying you're talking about a basket of tainim, can be that the chachamim are going to argue here and they're going to say that it's mutar. It's not chutz mikakol shel tainim. In bezeisim al hashemen, he might should tell him in azeisim al hashemen that he took off the truma from the olives and he wants to pat the shemen from the ma'aser. The kaimlam peikab the truma is ain't talking truma because it's something else. This is olives and this is oil. Ain't talking about the sefter. But the blessed the chachamim that what that's not also. So we can't be talking about such a case by shemen and anovim. Alamai, we're talking about tomorim, the dates who also the dos, and he's going to press these dates. And also we talk about groiges, which is the raisin who also the dos, and he's going to press them out. So he says here, he's explaining to us what's the difference dosan and doishnon. With doishnon bechovis, use the word to pressing it. You're pressing it into a barrel. The word doishnon is applicable. But al kaponim dosan is called pressing. The question is, it goes into a barrel or not in a barrel. Let's see the Rashi on the left, in the left column, right at the Gemara, where it says Gemara, the diva korel osa. If you put into a kakola, kistan chutzim kakola steina. Why is kakola different? So the word's questioning. What are we talking about? If you're talking about zaysim, olives, who also zaysim shemen is going to make out of it oil, so that's too much of a difference. That's looking at here's oil, this is olives, this is grapes, this is wine, because it's tiny bit of sefter. Even though the Blazer says that if you make truma on dovish nigma melachto, it's keveya. But if it's toidim shibolim, also last I say goyin shibolim, it's still in the stalks. These are kernels in the stalks, and you're going to make out of it you put into a silo. Anovim also last I say yain zaysim also last I say shemen sheyochem emare. Even according to Reb Lezer, you could eat it out of. Why could you eat it? Because there's too much of a lo nigma melachta. Here you have olives and you have grapes and you're making out of wine something else. The hani, what's the chilik? The hani rubam ledricha utoichnon He's going to make it. He's going to press it out. Because most of the olives, the most expensive part, what is the mila, is to make it out of wine, to make a shemen. But truma le'hanibu. So there's zichah, Zokti Gemara. Even in a blazer is going to be maskim. If you take truma from them, that's not keveya, and it's not also to eat it out. However, but if you take from the dates and you're going to press them out, that's called a certain type of tumorim. When they're pressed out, they're called chavitz de tama. The doishnon, again, he says, what is doishnon? What's the difference doishnon and doishnon? Doishnon bechovis. Hideshu mekubotzim kimin devela. It should be like the figs. The dates may come like figs. Masav kiv in the oichlin oisai belidis. Now, what's the machlok zebez the chacham here? Zokter azay kiv in the oichlin oisai belidis. Zokter blazer, because you could eat it many times. People eat it without pressing it. Ubeloidisha, without the dis or the disha. Both of them is a form of pressing it. Truma teblasan. So if you take truma, the truma makes it into tevel. Why does truma make it into tevel? That's one of the 6 things in the Mishnah. Rabbana sabi that kati l'yamaisa is lo yinigim malachton. Rabbana say no, that this is not going to make it, even though you took off truma, because lo yinigim malachton is what? It wasn't pressed yet, and his das was to press it, and the whole idea of maisa tevel becomes according to the person's das. That kati l'yamaisa lo yinigim malachton chashiva. It's considered lo yinigim malachton, and kamil liyel. The yamaisa calls bom yeshlem muktzah. Muktzah means davish lo yinigim malachton. Sure. Yes, the Gemara. Talk to Gemara. Rishon. We talk about Ma'aser. Now the Gemara is turning to Ma'aser Rishon Nahu Sheyitful. What does it mean Ma'aser Rishon Ma'aser Yitful? Aliba the Rabbi looked at Pnei Moshe. Aliba the Rabban who the boy Ashas. According to the Chachamim, Chachamim the one that said that if it's took off truma and davar shlo yinigim malachtoi, it's not kevei l'maisa, even though truma normally is. But if it's davar shlo yinigim malachtoi, it's not considered kevei l'maisa. So now the Gemara is probing in ma'aser rishon. If the case was by ma'aser rishon, toivu b'peiris koidim shenigim malachtoi, is there such a case according to the Chachamim by ma'aser rishon before the Gemara malacha if you took off truma? Because mefarish rozol b'hai gavnu hu the kamoyla. Here's the aboy. We're talking about what by is ma'aser rishon going to be the same halacha that we had in our Mishnah? Peiris shetama not shlening malachta. Does that apply to ma'aser rishon as well? Look at the menafulda im rishon ma'ushi yitvul im hifish mehem ma'aser rishon. Rishon ma'ashi yitvul zog the rasirula ma'ashi yitvul ma'aser rishon ma'ahu shetoivul mafash lo. The Gemara is going to explain now what is the question of the Gemara. Ma'omed based. Ma'nan kayomen. What are we talking about? That you're asking me this question on ma'aser rishon. In bikri shenis marach. If you're talking about a kri, put it into a kri, which is a silo, where she assembled it, and it's after the meruach. Again, there's 2 ways how to learn pshat meruach. Meruach means he smoothed it out. That's called the ma'amalocha by meruach, or he took off the kernels from the shaft, he separated. So in bikri shenis marach is the v'akol osid. Once he made meruach is considered always the Gemara Malacha, so everybody's going to agree that if you took off the ma'aser rishon, that's also considered the Gemara Malacha, and that's enough. In Bekrishin is matter, the V'akol also. Zokte Pnei Moshe, Mano Kayom L'haboya. What's the boya now if ma'aser rishon is keveya for tevel? If you're saying that's Bekrishin is matter, you assembled it into a kri, and you took off the meruach, you made the meruach already. The v'akol also claim it. B'zeh pshitalon the achashin is marach akri. Kvar nigma malachta l'maiser. Then it's zicher gemar malacha miniget l'maiser. Because it's not meperi kama. Why? Atvua mishim marach. You have regular tvua, grains that are growing in the field. After meruach, after you made the vin shovlim zukt in the chayde, or you take the separation of the kernels from the shaft. V'tzorach lahafshir kol ha'maises. After meruach, yeah, that's the gemar malacha. You can't ask me a question. The Gemara says, well, we're dealing with Truma now. The Mishnah talks about Truma. Now the Gemara wants to know not Truma, Ma'aser. The Mishnah talks about Perish Tom and actually Melachta, and that's the Mishnah. And the Mishnah Baita, one of the 6 things is Truma. Okay, Truma. What about Ma'aser? Does Ma'aser also have the same din? That's Keveya. It makes it a Gemam Loch. That's also Tidin Arai. And so now it says the Gemara, what are you talking about? If you're talking after Meruach, that's Pashut. Why should it be different? After Meruach, you have to be Mafish Kol HaMa'aser. Well, Shachlim Meboye, Ma'aser Ish, and Keveya, L'Sham Ma'aser. Because the Meruach makes it also. All of a sudden, after Meruach, everything is also. So you can't be talking that it was after Meruach. So like the Gemara Baita on the second line, if you're saying before Meruach, where still in the Shibolim, you took off Ma'aser Ish and Bishibolim, is still in the shafts. In other words, the kernels that is Roi for Truma was still in the shaft. It's a Vakal Mutter. Then everybody's going to say that it's Mutter. Why? It's like the Pnei Moshe. That's when you took the Ma'aser Ishin. That's the question. If Ma'aser Ishin has a din like Truma, that's Keveya, and it's also Tidid Arai, Koidim She'osim B'Kri, B'zeh Divakol Mutu Loichle Mehem Arai, Koidim She'yafir Shah HaMa'aser. Why? The need HaMa'aser B'vad Potter Mitruma Gedoyla. The Ma'aser itself is Potter from Truma Gedoyla. Because it's Ma'aser, for Ma'aser you don't have to take Truma Gedoyla. Kamim Peng Zayin the Baruches become Mekoimis by Ma'aser Nisha Shom Hashem Ma'aser Olam. Ma'aser is Ma'aser, and you don't take Truma from Ma'aser. Mikom Okoim Akate Loy Nigma Malachtoi Shokol Atvul Hashem Ma'aser. But this is considered Loy Nigma Malachtoi. It's in the Shibolim. And that's not a question. It should be Kaveh. It should be also the Ida Achilas Arai. How could it be also the Ida Achilas Arai? Even though you took off the Ma'aser Ishin, and the Mishnah tells us by Truma, it's Kaveh. But it can't be Keveya on something which is in the Shibolim. It's the Vakal Mutter. So like the Gemara. So where's the Aboy in the Gemara? If Ma'aser Rishon was taken from the Peiros, is the Ma'aser Rishon also have the status of being Keveya that it's also to eat, if just like by Truma? Is it also or not? And it makes it into a Dova Kavua. So it can't be talking about this after Meruach, and the Zicha after Meruach, it's also, and after before Meruach, it's Mishabolim, it's Zicha Mutter. Akinan Kayomin, when is the boy of the Gemara? If we say that Ma'aser Ishin is Keveya, like Truma, but Tumorim, it's talking about the dates who also the Dosa. Something that he didn't finish the Drisa. He has in mind that he wants to make Drisa. And here's one of the places where the Mishnah Shani knows that the Tevel is totally in his Das, because Tumorim, some of them are used for press. He pressed them into Drisa, and Groigers, and you have all these raisins. We also the Darshan. You also want to press them. That's totally an individual person. So here you see that Tevel has a very big shaykhs when you get to the Das Adam. In this case, when you didn't make the pressing yet, and this individual wants to press it out, and now Vifish Truma Gedoyla, and he took off the Truma Gedoyla. And then he decides, no, he wants to have the Truma Gedoyla Nimlach in his mind. If it's Truma Gedoyla, and then he changes his mind. He wants to leave it the way it is. So in other words, he starts out, he wants to take off the Truma, which was Kaveh, the Mishnah says, but he changes his mind, and he took off the Truma, the Ma'aser Ishin. In time, L'mafreya, and it will Truma Shutevelas. If I say that it goes L'mafreya, but he has in mind to do something like Truma, it automatically goes back L'mafreya retroactively. So then I say it's Teveya, even by Ma'aser Ishin. In time, Mikan Labo, Rushin, Hushetayvel. So it's very cryptic to understand what this question is. So let's see the Pnei Moshe. In b'Ma'aser Ishin shegdim b'shabolim, diva kol demut loichle mamarek and sheyafresh. The Ma'aser needs a Ma'aser b'vad potter Truma Gedoyla. Okay, next piece. Elokianon kayoma. When is the shaila of the Gemara? A Ma'aser Ishin has a din like Truma that's kivei. B'hodukam b'boilon b'chai gavnahu. What's the case? The case is only in this instance. But tomorrow who was the dosam. Begoigus we also the doshna. V'hifish man Truma Gedoyla. Dami chachamim. Excuse me. Dein hatruma tevelas. Why isn't the truma make it into tevel? Because he has in mind also the dosan udoshna. He wants to press it. He took off the truma gedoyle when it was still before he pressed it, and he wants to press it, so the truma is not going to make it into kiviyas for ma'isa. It's called Loinigma Nachta. Why? Because he wants to still press it, and we're pre-pressing. Shehifish, Mayrish, Yitorim Mehem, Ashar, Tumorim, Vigroigish, Shein Bedarta, Ledosan, Ledoshtam. Now, he's putting in here, the Pnei Moshe is putting another step into the Gemara. Pashtus of the Gemara is you have something which you decided you want to press it, and before you press it, you took off the Truma. And the question is now, is that going to be something which is going to be Kaveh for Meister? And he's saying now, another step, making it more complicated, he's saying is that we're talking about this Peiris, that he wants to press him, and he wants to press the dates or the raisins. He's using this also, and he's also want to use this Peiris on different Peiris, which he has no intention at all of those to make a pressing out of it. So now the Havi Kitoyim Midova Shaloi Nigma Malachtoi. Why? Because this that he wants to press, not finished, and he wants to use these payers also on something which he doesn't have in mind to press out. So it's Midova Shaloi Nigma Malachtoi, Adova Shaloi Malachtoi. The Din Bezer, and this doesn't say in the Gemara, so you need to understand where the Pnei Moshe got this from. But let's read it. He says the Din Bezer, the Truma that's considered Truma because B'tzarech Lazar V'lita Shniya. You have to take off the second time Truma. Kedom Pei Kama the Truma is why? Zeisim al Zeisim who also the Koishon, Anom Yosa the Dorchon, Truma V'yazav Yutim. It's a complicated halacha. The halacha is that even though it's you took Truma from dates that you want to press, and you want to take this truma on something which is you don't want to press them, so it's midover agoma shaloya agoma, so it's truma v'yazi. It's truma because there's not enough of a differentiation. Not pressed and is pressed, v'yazi yitram. You still have to again truma. You have to understand. We have to see why monashah. If it's truma, what do you have to give again truma? If it's not truma, what do you have to make a truma for now? But upon this is the case that the Gemara is using. Now, after that, v'hashta aisi shape hodem esayin kan haboy. Why? Now you have the haboy of the Gemara. What's going on with the ma'aser? Nimlach le'nichon. He decided to press it. Then he changed his mind. V'acha nimlach boy le'nichon la'tamar v'agoyger k'moy shehen v'loy l'dostam v'loy l'dostam. He first takes off the ma'aser, and then he changes his mind, and he doesn't want to make the pressing anymore. The nimsa, the achshav, oisa truma harishoyne, truma ma'yisi. When he took off the truma, he had in mind to make to press it. Then after he took off the truma, he changes his mind, and now it's truma ma'yisi, retroactively, the kidinhu, ubedinhu. And really it should be, shetei tevelis, the ma'yisi could come on. It should be nikva the ma'yisi. Why? Because he's no longer interested in making the pressing. So when he did it, it was a very gemar malacha. It was very gemar malacha. It should be kuviyah for ma'yisi. And he took off the ma'aser. So that should be kaveya. No, he does have to make truma shniya, maybe. Why? That's the boy. When you took off the truma, it was a dovish nigma malachta because you had in mind to press it. And now later, after you took it off, now you change your mind. So now it becomes a dovish nigma. So what's that boy? It's a Moedek, he cites the Shalan here in the Gemara. So what the Gemara is explaining now like this. Because you have to redo it, because you took off an agoma, ashein agoma. When you took it off, it was in mind to make a pressing. So it's ein agoma, al agoma, something which didn't have that intention. And now you're going to have to go and say, take off first truma. It's a reset because now you change your mind. Now you're not pressing anymore. What you did before doesn't count. If you went, you took off the ma'aser before the truma. Now the boy is like this. So now, Nachamal, you have here payers, dates, and the dates you have in mind to press them. And you're using the truma from these dates, which you have in mind to press, on other dates that you don't have in mind to press them. So that's called Minagoma al Shein Agoma. And then you took off the Truma, and then you change your mind on these payers also, you're not going to press them. So the question is, Im lemafreya nitlu ha'peiros lemaises, do we say that the Tevel came already before lemafreya? Or mekan la'abo, because the masiv was la'abo. The in-time lemafreya nitlu ha'peiros truma shutavelas, if you say that it goes retroactively, kloima, the amina, the hoyel va'ashli gloyi milsa lemafreya, the truma rishayna truma ma'yasi. Why? Because now, when you change your mind, so the truma, what you took off from these payers, on payers that you have no intentions of pressing them, so now that you change your mind, is huva adolam afrei b'shas ma'asim, when you did it was 100% okay. Minagoma alagoma, the minagoma alagoma who imkain he should develop. So the ma'aser ishin should also be toivel. Why? The Torah b'dova shenigma malach they have it. You were toiling from the dova shenigma malach because we go according to his last machshava, which is not to press them. So have a kviyas lemaises lekulam. So we know from here the osa lechel arai it's not permitted to eat the mari because now it's nigma. Afsha dayin loitorah maturuma shniya. Even though he didn't take off the second truma. What's the second truma? Because now you change your mind, you have to take truma again. Toyim v'achakach toyim. Mishum nahashta truma shayna hu shetabelas. So that's one side of the boy. If you say you don't go retroactively, that once you change your mind, we don't say that we look at the truma that you took before you change your mind. It doesn't go like that. It goes according to Hashda, Mekiv, and the Bishah, Shetorim. When you took off the truma, why? Because you had a mind to make the pressing. So you took off from something which you had a mind to press, which is not a dava shenigma malachta. So we go according to what his machshava was at the time of the harama, when he made the harama, and at that time it was like nigma malachta because he had a mind to press it. El the mekana haba, acha shehifish ha'maiser ishin itvu l'shamaises. Imkein ishin hu shetoivel. So this aboy is not an ifshita, so it remains a very big question here. In when do we say that you consider if it's nigma or loy nigma? Do we say it's b'shas when you make the ma'isa frosha? When you make the ma'isa frosha, he had a mind to press it, so it's dovish loy nigma, and he wants to use this on dova, which is something else, which is never intended to be pressed out. Or do I say no? We look at what he is now. Now, after he took over the Maisa, now he changes his mind. So now we say all of a sudden this is minagoma alagoma because we go according to now. It needs a beer, Rabbi Sai, because at least the way the Pnei Moshe is learning this Aboya, I see Reb Chaim is Muchinzach. He says, what do you need such a hard case for? Why can you just say the boy the Gemara is? You're talking about Truma. The Mishnah says Truma is Kevei the Maisa. It doesn't say Maisa Rishon. So Truma and Maisa Rishon are two different things. Why do Gemara have, according to the Pnei Moshe, make such a complicated issue where he took minagoma al shein agoma, he makes it into goma and agoma because he has a mind to press, and then he changes his mind. Do we go according to less machshava, and we say now that he doesn't want to press it anymore, so it's minagoma al goma, or not? So this needs yet to be understood. But al kaponim, this halacha that we say that the chachama will kevei that truma makes it into a kaviyas. That's only because that's the Gemara. But if he has a mind to change his mind, so you see, very similar to what we saw in Yerushalmi, we saw before, everything here, and these 6 things that are kaveya for Mises, is really telling his das. And it's telling his last das. That's the Gemara of the Shiloh now. Do we say we go, his last das is now when he changes his mind, we go Bosa Hashta, or do we go Bosa when he made the Maisa Frosha? We can't keep